Alright guys, so welcome to today's video, and in today's video we will continue with our anime fighter series right here. And let me just say some words before we begin. First of all, thank you for your overwhelming support. You guys showed extreme support on the first episode, and therefore I will of course continue with this series, guys. And one more thing, I won't be presenting you anything. It's some kind of presentation because we are still dealing with the same topic, which is about, to circle the fighters around our character. Therefore, no other presentation is needed because we already know what we are going to do. I will, of course, come up with a new presentation once we start with a new topic regarding this game, guys. Okay, so just for you to know, just for those who have been wondering where the presentation is. Okay, so with that being said, let's move on with this video, guys. So let me just quickly recap what we have done in the last episode. So as you can see, we have our Aaron here, and he's following us. And yeah, so one more thing before I forget it. So there was an idea of one of you viewers. Wait, let me just get the comment. Never mind. I have found the comment, but I've tried to redo what the person has suggested me, and it does not work. Okay, so someone. So the name of the person is someone. So if you see that, I tried to do your character suggestion. It does not work because you suggest me to refer to the character via user ID, but since the character model does not have any user ID property, that is totally impossible. And the other thing this person has suggested was an alternative to Heartbeat. And yeah, so there are some alternatives, but they do not work out as expected. So there is, for example, okay, so let me just quickly explain you what the issue with Heartbeat is. So as I've already told you in the last episode, Heartbeat is pretty similar in this case to a while loop, therefore just drains the performance at the end, okay, the performance of our computer, of our device, and therefore could cause lags, okay? And we of course need to optimize this. And there is an alternative called get property changed signal. So it basically detects when a certain property has changed, and in this context we could use that to detect when the person has walked, means the position of the person has changed. The only issue is that this get property changed signal function does not work. It does not fire when the position has changed. At least that's my experience. Okay, so it doesn't work for me, and that's pretty weird. Therefore, I'm forced to use those loops, guys. Okay, I'm sorry for that. Just for those of you who have been wondering about this. Okay, so 3 minutes are already over. Let me just begin with the actual video, guys. So this was okay, so this whole code right here works with one character, okay? Now, we want to do two characters. So, what can we do about that? Let me first of all put this in comment, okay? In the comment. And let me just quickly give some kind of title up here. So, one fighter. Okay? Now, we will do the same for two fighters. So, how is this going to work out, okay? So, we of course going to use this code as a base. So, let me turn off this transparency and let me get rid of this. Okay. So, what happens now is that this part is being created, and Aaron is not being cloned or anything because I have put this in comments, okay? Therefore, will be totally skipped from the script. So, if you guys have understood the idea from the last video, then you should know what we'll do. So, we'll, of course, going to create two parts in this case, and we will align them somewhere nearby our character. So, probably here and here, okay? So, that's the plan. And in order to do that, we can do the following. So we could put this in a for I loop. So for I loop. So what this loop does is that it loops 2 times, and I always equals the amount of the loop. So if we are at the first loop, then I is being 1, and if we are in the second loop, then I is 2, and we can also increase this to 5, then I could possibly be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, because we have 5 loops in total, but in our case, we only want to have 2 loops, because so what does a loop do in this context? A loop just repeats this code, in this case, 2 times, okay? Means we have 2 parts which are being created, 2 velts which are being created, and also 2 fighters which are being cloned at the end. And you guys probably get the idea I'm trying to point out. So we are going to create everything 2 times, and we are going to work with that. So we can, of course, not leave everything as it is. So we are now successfully creating everything 2 times, but as you guys have seen, so we have the position part right here. Okay, we have 2 of them, but they are identical. Okay, so what can we do about it? So how can we change the position of those parts for themselves? Okay, so without like adapting the change to the other part as well, because if you try, let me just quickly show you that. So if you try to put a certain value instead of the C frame, then the following will happen. So if you think that this position only applies to one part, then you are wrong, because as you can see, it has applied to both parts. So what can you do in order to bypass this? Okay, and that's the reason why I have explained this thing with this I, because this I is the key to our success at the end. So with this I, we can check the amount of loops which have passed. So if we are currently in the first loop, then we want the position of the part which is being created in the first loop to be a certain one, okay? I don't know, maybe 2, 2.5, and minus 3.5, okay? And then I changes to 2 after the code comes down here and starts up here again. So I increases to 2, and then we are at our second run, and means the second part is being created, the second weld is being created, and we are going to apply another position to this one, okay? So I hope that you have somehow understood what I was trying to say. So we are going to check for the amount of loops. So if I is 1 means if we are currently at the first loop, means the first part is being created, then we want the position to be at 2, 2.5, and minus 3.5. Else, so else also includes the case else if I double equals 2. But just to make things faster, I just write else. So else, and then we just take this one and just set a minus in front of it. Just set a minus in front of it, because we want the parts to be aligned. So we want them to be aligned like this, okay? So that you have, so that they look symmetric to each other, okay? As you can see. Okay, and that's it. So that's the difficulty about this thing. And yeah. Now, one more thing. We can either do this thing. Wait. Too many things right here. Yeah, wait. No, we have to do the alternative. So as you can see, we have run into an issue. So we have now dealt with the position stuff. You guys already know about this code, and we are now going to work on our characters. So the issue is that this character right here is being created 2 times, okay? And this code right here, which is responsible for the character to follow our part, is outside of the whole loop, which is not good, because we are using terms such as arran, which is a variable, okay? And this arran variable only exists within this loop. Therefore, we need to put this code inside of the loop. But if we do that, then we have a loop, and we have something which is similar to a loop, okay? Means it is very, very bad practice, and it drains a lot of performance, okay? So we need to find a way around this whole construction. Okay, what can we do? So we need to do the following. So we first of all want to keep this thing outside, okay? Means we need a variable outside of this loop which also represents the characters. Okay, I'm gonna show you a way on. I'm gonna show you a way how you can do that. Second thing is that we do not want our characters to be only arran. Okay, so we also want to use other characters, and we will of course do that as well because the method I'm going to show you is good for both cases. So for both things we want to achieve. Okay, so what kind of idea I'm speaking of, or what kind of method? Of course, it is the same thing as up here. We are going to differentiate in between those two loops. So in between the first one and the second one means I double equals 1 and else, aka I double equals true. Also I double equals 3 and so on. But in this case, we only have two loops, therefore I double equals 2. Okay? So we can just take this one and we can put it inside of here. And you know that this code is responsible to create the character or to clone Eren Yeager, and we can now paste it inside of here as well, but only change some minor stuff. So we could, for example, change the variable to Gear 4, and so the reference is the same, so replicated storage, and instead of Eren Yeager we will have Gear 4, and yeah, so there's nothing else which is going to change. Okay, so we now have cloned two characters, as you can see. And we have this check, but this variable is still highlighted as yellow because this variable only exists within those checks, okay? So what can we do about it? So how can we gain access to those variables? Okay, so we somehow need a reference outside of this whole loop, okay? So how can we do that? And let me show you the answer. So the answer is pretty easy. You just need to wait. Let me give them other names. Okay, so you just need to define two, no, not even define, you just need to create two other variables which are empty. Okay, so they need to be empty, and being empty is like this. So you just define the scope, in this case local, and the name. So nothing else, no equals whatsoever. Okay, so only the name and the scope. Okay, and we can now do the following. Fighter 1. Why isn't this working? Oh yeah, so because it is empty. And as you can see, we also have an issue with this X, means this position part. And for those purposes, we need to... No, never mind. We do not need to do anything. I'm gonna show you another alternative to this one. So as you can see, this Fighter 1 is highlighted as orange. Let me just change this to Fighter 2. So they are highlighted orange. And that is because they're still empty, because we are not filling them up with anything. And what can we do in order to give them some values, some instances, some, you know, entries whatsoever, so some content? You can do this. Okay, so you can do Fighter 1 equals Eren, and down here you can do Fighter 2 equals Gear 4. Okay, and as you can see, we have, so let me just explain you the idea. We have defined two variables. No, we haven't even defined some. We have created some. They have no content, so they hold no information or anything. They are totally empty. Then we have this loop in which we are creating some stuff. So the position parts, wait, I'm gonna explain this to you as well. So the position parts. So let me just quickly tell you what I've just done. So as you can see, we formerly had position part 1. I have gotten rid of the 1 and have added those 2 dots with this I. And what happens is that, so you guys know that I is either 1 or 2, so it depends on which loop you're currently at. And we are basically creating a name which consists of the words position part and the loop it is currently in. Means if you are in the first loop and if you are about to create the first position part, then the name of this part is position part. And as I've already told you, we are in the first loop, means I is 1, so position part 1. And those 2 dots just connect this number to this text, okay? So position part 1. And the second run, I equals 2 means position part 2, okay? So that's just what I've changed right here. So yeah, we have those variables, and down here we are defining some other variables which are holding our fighters. We could also just do the following. So we could have written fighter equals this, and then just could have just done this. Okay, that's possible as well. Or you can just do it this way. So doing it like this doesn't doesn't make you need the other variables such as Aaron and Gear 4. Okay, so I recommend you to do it this way. And yeah, so this should seem logical to you. So an empty one which receives its information, so it is basically going to hold or going to store the Eren Yeager. And yeah, you guys should know about those lines. So we are putting it inside of the character, we are giving it a position, and we are going to do the same for our second fighter. Okay, so what can we do about the positioning? So let me quickly tell you about that. Okay, so how can we access to those position parts? Because those are parts at the end which are necessary for our position. So you could do the following: character, wait for child, position part 1. Okay, so we have used, or we have implemented this I, and therefore we can keep those position parts apart. Otherwise, both would have shared the same names. Okay, and therefore we just need to refer to the first position part if we are setting up the first fighter's position. Okay, and we're going to do the same for a second fighter, with the slight difference that we are not going to refer to the position part 1, but to the position part 2. Okay, and that's it. So that's the way on how you can implement two fighters right here. So the Gear 4 is a little bit bugged, as you can see. The way it is facing is totally wrong, but that's an issue of this Gear 4 model, not of this code. Okay, I can add Itachi if you want to instead of Gear 4, so it seems better to you. And yeah, so that's it with this video, guys. As you can see, yeah, wait, why is he standing on that thing? Oh yeah, no, he is not standing on anything, he's just, so his hip height is just messed up, that's the reason why. And yeah, so that's it with this video, guys. And in the next episodes, we will deal with 3 fighters, 4 fighters, and 5 fighters. And let me just tell you something, okay? So the biggest difference is in between the first fighter, or the way of how you can create this thing for one fighter, and the second fighter. Because the idea for the second, third, fourth, and fifth is the same. So we will work with this loop later on as well. So the next episode as well. And we will just increase the amount of loops to 3. Okay, and we will just add some more checks right here, and that's it. So there is nothing more we are going to add to this thing. Okay, we could even do this now. if I want to. And I'm going to do that. So yeah, I'm just gonna do that. So for I3, so we are now going to do this for 3 fighters. Fighter 3. So we need to define we need to create a third variable, I mean. And we need to clarify this one. Okay, so there we go. We've now added gear 4 to our third fighter, and we still need to add the third fighter's position right here, and this one is going to be in between the 2 other fighters, means 0, 2.5, and instead of 3.5 we will have 4, because we'll make the third fighter not stand in a line with all of the other fighters. So as you can see, he's a little bit more at the back. Could also move those other 2 fighters a little bit nearby to us, and we could increase this position on this x-axis. We could even move him a little bit more behind, and we can also change the hip height of our gear 4 just to make him look more great. Greater. Yeah, as you can see. Yeah, wait. We aren't even done yet. We have forgot to do this thing for the third fighter, and you know what? I think that I'm gonna end this topic at this point, or for now. We are now going to deal with with automating this whole thing in the next episode. So I'm not gonna do this thing for 4 fighters or 5 fighters, because I can of course show that in future episodes when we have created our own fighters within Blender, because I'm currently using some tower defense characters I have made in a other series, and yeah, I'm gonna focus on making this whole process automated in the next episode, because that's more important than increasing the size of fighters you're able to carry with you. So as you can see, we are now able to carry 3 fighters, and yeah, that's good. That's cool. Okay, so I hope that you guys have understood this idea. Okay, so it is totally the same for 2, 3, 4, 5, whatsoever. The biggest difference is in between the first and the second. So when you have 1 fighter and 2 fighters. Okay, so the biggest difference is in between them. Okay. Yeah, so that's it with the video, guys. I hope that you have enjoyed it. If so, leave a like, subscribe, share this video to all of your friends, give me feedback in the comments section, guys, and leave me ideas for the series in the comments section as well, guys. And once again, thank you for your overwhelming support. I really appreciate it, and I would love to see some people out there who share this video to their friends. Okay, so I know that many of you play Anime Fighter Simulator, and some of you, some of you always wanted to be developers, and here you go. Here's your chance. I have uploaded many videos on my channel, many series which deal with game creation. Okay, so if you want to be a developer, if you want to earn Robux, then support me, watch my videos, become a developer yourself, and yeah. With that being said, take care and see you in the next video, guys.